Hello, how's everybody doing? Um, this one is gonna be a continuance on how Jehovah doesn't refer to God, okay? Because if you look at that video, hi everybody, I forgot to give my introduction. Okay? Yes, I got my contacts, thank God. I had to wear actually, but I had to wear my glasses to work. That was a big deal. I never did that. I never, actually, this is the first time I ever wore my glasses out in public. It's because now things I just have to do. Like I had to do those videos yesterday. And the reason why I don't like to not see when I'm doing the YouTubes because I feel that I'm going to be cross-eyed or something because my eyes will go different ways and stuff like that. So that's why I had to do it with the glasses on. And it was just because I had to, you know what I mean? And then I had to go to work with them. So I'm happy I did the videos because it was so hard for me to to go out in public because I've never done that with glasses on. But it's my fault because I ordered my contacts late and I knew to order them on time. And my contacts, another thing too, I had to wear them because I was wearing the last pair of contacts. You're only supposed to wear them for a month, and I was wearing them longer, and it made my eyes dry, made my eyes like red. So I needed more time to to um to not wear contacts because I went to the doctor's office, and she did give me a pair. I mean, this was after the video, I think. So she gave me just a pair that wasn't my prescription, just so I could get along and work like they did before. But I really couldn't wear them because the old contacts that I had dried my eyes out. Not dry. It was like, yeah, it was dry because I asked her. I said, "What happens to those contacts when when you wear them too long?" She says the contact dries. Okay, so I'm glad that I wore the glasses, and I wore them at work because, like I said, I wanted my eyes to get more air, and it was nice because when I woke up this morning and I put on the light and everything, my eyes watered. It was like open, like waking my eyes up, and I remember they used to always do that. So anyway, everything worked out with the contact lenses. But anyway, usually when I go, the last video that I did was very important because I remember when I was trying to, and these are so deep things, but the things I'm telling you, a lot of smart people already know. I mean, they know. And these are the things that they use, you know what I mean? To to control, which they have used to control a lot of people. And like I said, the worst part is to control people like the Jehovah Witnesses, like we were. So these things are well thought out. And the major fact, the reason why they work so much, because most people don't have time to think about these things. They have to trust you. Even in the government and stuff like that, we have to trust a lot of things, because we don't have the time. We're always occupied. We're always busy. You know what I mean? And so that's why you need people that you can trust. You know what I mean? Like to educate you, to help you out with things. And another example is like that's why we have different, people have different jobs and doing different things. And you have to trust other people when you need something done. You know what I mean? So that's why we're here for each other on earth. But I remember when I was going over about this was a big deal for me, you know, about why Jehovah does not mean God. And we did it over and we talked it over and over again, but then we're coming closer to the answer. And the reason why this one is very important is because I was saying something, and it's something that we've been taught. But like I said, I mean, I continually refine certain things. And remember this. This is it. We used to say, they used to say, or we were taught that Jehovah is God's name. Okay, that's exactly what we were taught. But then, and then I was telling you, I said that Jehovah is God, and this is what happens to people who they don't have time to pull it apart or anything. So their mind is just works like this. It's saying Jehovah. They have to say in their mind, because especially in English, I'm talking mostly about English because I know English. I was born here. We use sound, okay? And I explained to you about Peter. Like, for instance, in other languages, stone for Peter, like Jesus said, you're the rock in this, I'm going to place my kingdom on you, or something like that. And you're going to build the kingdom or whatever. So, but a lot of other languages, romantic languages mostly, they use the name rock, okay? The actual rock. But in English, American English, I can definitely say because I'm American, and I know other languages don't do it either. We say, and I know other Englishes don't do it, that's what I mean. We don't say rock. We don't say in the Bible rock. We say Peter, 1 Peter, 2 Peter, and we use Peter, okay? But that's the thing that always confused me, but I let it go. But in other languages, it's not like that. It's not as confusing because they actually use the name for rock, for rock, okay? But in English, we have rock, and we don't use rock we do use rock for a name, but even when we use rock for a name in English, we don't associate names with things, okay? You like, I forgot his name, but he named his daughter Moon Unit, and as soon as we hear Moon Unit, and it's her name, when we talk about it or whatever, our minds are very fast, especially in English. We have this thing with sound, okay? And we relate it to the person's name. We switch it. We just like cut it off and we organize it and say rock, okay? Or we say Moon Unit. That was her name. Frank, it was not Zappa, okay? Because I even met him one time. But he called his daughter Moon Unit. But when we hear her name, it doesn't sound like Moon Unit. It sounds exactly like it's a name. That's all it is to us, okay? So even when we hear rock, it's a name. That could be a reason why they did it too. Because names of things, when we name people things, and that's what they do in America a lot, name their child so many different things. Not everybody, but a lot of people. And we don't refer to that thing when we hear the name. But in other languages, it's not like that. They hear the name and they refer to that very easily. Like if it's a rock, they refer to rock. I mean, they know the person's name is Rock, but they have that sense of what their name means. But in English, we don't have a sense of what the name means. We know what the name means, but I'm saying the way we organize our language. So when we do rock, we didn't name, or whoever put it together didn't say rock when they hit that scripture. So they called it Peter, and they used the sound of like the original sound, and they translated the sound into like Peter, So that's also called. It could be an imperfection, or it could be also a form of intelligence. Okay, and so anyway, so what I was saying, what I'm telling you about that is that the way we say things, we have to come up with something either naturally or the way we were taught to get to the meaning of it. Like, for instance, like when we say, okay, let's use Jehovah. Okay, when we say Jehovah, and we're all ex-Jehovah Witnesses, so you know what I'm talking about. And like I said, I can go back to see exactly how my mind was. Like I said, it's a perfection that I have. I don't know how I got it or whatever. But what I'm saying is that I know exactly what I didn't know. Is that how I can? That's the best way I can explain it. I remember what I don't know. So that I can go right back and see my mind exactly the way it was when um, when when I was being taught about Jehovah. I kind of started because I wanted to add a point, but I'm not going to add it. Okay, so what they were saying is that Jehovah is God's name. Okay? So, that's exactly, just saying those words, that's how we are taught, and that's how I stored it, okay, in my mind. And that's how everybody's going to store it, okay? But, and then I use Jesus, which I put them together, but it's nothing like it. So this is more like a correction also, because um, uh, when I say God's name is Jehovah, okay? It's totally different from Jesus is God. Totally different. And I was thinking real fast, and I want to use that example, but like I said, I remember what I don't know. When I did that, when that happened, when I told you that, it did a click, okay? And it's something that I didn't know, okay? And I had to clear it up, but that's just what I'm saying, that perfection is that I remember what I don't know. Now I even can see why I remember what I don't know, because it does this click. And when I was telling you, when they say Jehovah is God's name, okay? When they say Jehovah is God's name, and right there was the click. What I was saying, now I can say the point clear. This is what we store. Jehovah is God's name, okay? But that still doesn't get to God. It still doesn't get to God, okay? Because we're saying Jehovah is God's name, and it is precise. It's exactly precise, just like this. Jehovah is God's name. So when they're calling, when we use Jehovah, we say, "Oh, that's God's name," which is a phrase. But still and yet you haven't gotten to him. You can't get to him by that name, because Jehovah is God's name. Jehovah is God's name. That's what the meaning of Jehovah is. And that's how all the Jehovah Witnesses is going to store that information, okay? Now, then I said Jesus is God is totally different. Totally different. Because Jesus is everything that we learned about him, and he was human on earth, okay? So then that's what we have to place as a name for Jesus, okay? So what I'm saying is that when we say Jesus, we know we use Jesus for this beautiful everything that he did, so that he has a place. It's a meaning, okay? And as soon as we say Jesus, it goes to everything he was. I hope everybody sees what I'm talking about. So when we say we can say Jesus is God, okay? So we're not actually saying we're using language, but we're not actually saying Jesus, the name, is God. We're not saying the name is God, okay? we utilize the name Jesus because anything can be called Jesus, you know, and there was I think it was a popular name. Um, and there's people today that call them, although most Christians would not do that. But so anyway, so the name, it shows you how a name works. And like I was telling you, a name, I studied language so long. Not just that, I constantly just, like right now I have ten songs. All the songs is language. I have 10 songs that I'm going through a transition, so I can't sing them. When I get out of the transition, then I'll sing them. But I have 10 songs in my mind right now, okay? So I'm just telling you that I know how this works. And I told you what my degree is in. And I've studied just sounds my whole life, okay? So that's why I'm trying to I have to tell you how I can know this, okay? And if you think about it for a while, you would know it too. So now we have the meaning, plus I'm old. When you get old, you can put everything together. If you did something with your life, and I did something with my life, I study all the time. So anyway, so now there's this meaning, okay, of Jesus, everything he did. And then but we can't put in one word everything he is. So we use Jesus. So we're not really saying, I mean, you know, you can look at it your way, but we're not really saying Jesus, Jesus, is God. We're not saying that because it's a name. And I told you the name is very weak. A name is it's one of the weakest words, you know. It's one of the weakest words that I've studied. A name is the weakest word because, like I told you, Jesus, okay? And then there could be so many different kinds the name could be popular and all this thing. But when we say Jesus, a Christian that says Jesus, it goes to blam that everything, you know what I mean? So we can say Jesus is God because we just don't say Jesus. We when we speak of it, we use the meaning, we catch the meaning, and then we say Jesus. We just don't say Jesus. And that's another thing. When you say Jehovah, you just say Jehovah. It's just Jehovah, okay? But with Jesus, you bring him up first, okay? And then you say Jesus. And and another thing that's beautiful about American English, I have to say American English because American, especially American English, is we use sound. We use a lot of sound. We just don't say things. And at work, when I teach people about English, I tell you, you just can't say it in English. In other languages, you can just say it and they'll believe you. And you can say something bad in their language and they'll think of it, and they'll hear it as bad. But they don't they don't use the sound like American. And it's not even in so much in the way they teach you because the grammar is like so old nowadays. But what I'm saying is like when they tell me something and I say, but you can't just say it that way, you know. They don't even tell you in when you learn English. I just tell them, I said, you can't say it that way. You have to say it this way or you have to say it that way, you know. Like I'll give you an example. Like my friend would say, oh boy. I told him like, oh boy, you know. But I said, you just can't say, oh boy. You have to say, oh boy. I mean, it has to be in English, you have to use the sound, the expression. So that's what I'm saying. When you say Jesus, so if Americans say Jesus, you can feel it because they have to bring it up. Okay, so I said Jesus is God, but so then there's something else that came up. So then I was saying, and I couldn't do it. So I tried to say Jehovah and use it, and I can't do it. It won't happen. Like I can say Jesus is God, but I can't say the other one. It won't come out. I mean, I can see words evolve in my mind. I can see them because I sing like I learned so many songs, and sometimes you get to the point to where you can you can see the words that are getting ready to come out of your mouth. I mean, and the feelings and everything. But if I can't say, and maybe God is not letting me say it, but I'm saying as far as because I was praying about this, and I know that I was praying to God, or conversation or whatever. Everybody knows me, and I was praying to God, and then I would like see Jehovah, but it was just a word, and I think that he was trying because I was really studying for this YouTube, the one yesterday and now this one, which was I think it was 2 days ago, and I go, it's there, but I'm talking to you, so he's let me see that it was just a word, but I can't say that word is. See, I can't even say it. I can say Jesus is God, but it can't go the other way. So that's the point I'm trying to tell you. They're saying they're saying Jehovah is God's name. That's what they say. Now, I could say it if I don't have any meaning. If I don't have any meaning come up, okay? Because we speak our heart, we speak our minds, but there's a way to say it without any meaning, okay? So that's the point I want to make, is that I was putting together Jehovah is God's name is totally different from Jesus is God. It's just totally different. And the big point I'm trying to make is that I cannot say, I'm not saying that, I'm saying physically, mentally, I can't say that. Maybe he's stopping me or whatever, but I can't say, I can say Jesus is God, but I can't say Jehovah in that sentence, okay? It's like, it's a block, or because I can see the words, I can see my meaning not being able to, I just can't say it, okay? And I'm not saying, vocally I can't say it, and that was really a big deal for me. I was like, wow. And you could say this to somebody and they can kind of switch it and all this and all of that, but I was taught that way. I wasn't taught like Jesus is God. I was taught, and this is the way they teach you, and it's very deceiving. They say Jehovah is God's name, and I had to draw the conclusion that it's their God's name. So Jehovah is their God's name, and that's the point I want to make, and that's sad because, like I said, the life is a little bit different than what people think. Like, for instance, it's not so automatic. You have to do things, and like, I'm in one of my things that I got on, American Yoga. I'm studying. For people who do know those videos, I have to condition. I'm in a conditioning for precision, and it is something else. It's working, but it's so hard. And that's another thing that because sometimes I say, am I really a bad person? Am I doing good? Who am I following? God, and it's like the only thing I can think of to know that I'm in the right direction is like, what has he taught me? And he doesn't like give me lollipops. It's not like that. It's like information and things that if I want to do something, I have to work on it. It's just like everybody knows. If you know God, if you know Jesus, it's just not like giving lollipops. You have to do the work. Why? Because then it's yours, you know? So anyway, that's all I want to say is now we know what we've been taught. We've been taught that Jehovah is God's name, but you can't even it can't even go to Jesus is God. Those are, I always put them together, and that's a mistake that I was doing, because I was saying it's the same thing, but like I said, that little trigger comes up to where it's like something I don't know, and it's like a click, and that helps me to know myself better also. And when I was saying it on a video, I was saying uh-oh. I didn't say uh-oh, but it was like I was trying to get it back then, but then when I closed the video, I kept thinking about it, and then I figured that out. But the big deal to me was when I was figuring out the video and I was saying Jesus is God, and then the other way would not work. I can't even do it. It won't even come close. That's a power, I would say. It's my structure or whatever. That's another thing that I can figure out. I don't really care to figure it out. I'm just happy that I know it. So thank you all very much, and hang in there. We'll wait until next time. I'm happy I'm back with the with the ex-Jehovah Witnesses, ex-Jehovah Witness YouTubes. It's very hard to do an ex-Jehovah Witness YouTube now, because I don't just go back over and over information, you know. It's that I have to keep drawing the information until I have something to make a Jehovah Witness, ex-Jehovah Witness tape. And the thing about it is which makes my former ex-Jehovah Witness videos significant, can I say? It makes it like there. I mean, this was a, how can I say? This was something that was thought about. This is something to relate to you. It's not just I'm just giving them just because I have to get them, because you do have to do YouTube, so if you're on YouTube. But I'm blessed that I can do music and other things on YouTube. So thank you very much, and hang on in there. See you later. Bye-bye.